Alright, today, 11?
Day 11. Lucky number 11.
Oh, is it really?
No. No.
Yeah, man, I don't know that,
That's what we in the business call a lie.
Oh, come on. Please. This is... I'm just the internet.
I know.
I'm not gonna lie to the internet. How would you... That's not a thing that people do. That's not...
Well, in the words of Abraham Lincoln,
Oh, God.
don't believe everything you read on the internet.
Wise man. So, I'm just, how are you? And just,
I'm
in general.
I'm doing okay. I'm having a bit of sort of time meld, I guess, because it's been spring break for a little while now.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know that in my mind, I know that today is Friday, but the days of I'm really in a bit of a vortex as far as distinguishing days from each other. So it's a little bit hallucinatory. But other than that, I'm okay. How about yourself? How about yourself? You're on what is this, day 3 of your boxing drills?
Yeah.
How's it going?
Fairly well. I think I think the soreness as I'm wearing off a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing.
No, that is good. Well, the ideal I get from what I understand from people who actually exercise. The idea is to sort of feel the exercise a little bit. Like you want to feel it a little bit, but not so much that you're prevented from doing it more. Like
yes, exactly.
You don't want to hurt yourself, or you don't want to strain yourself so much that you're, prevented from working out more in the future. Again, Again, this is what I'm told.
Ah, man, come on. I mean, you did just the weight stuff for a while,
Yeah, I've really fallen off the wagon. I hurt my elbow, and I took that as license to quit everything. I should get back to it.
Dang, yeah. And how is that?
It is aggravating because every day I wake up and I think it's better, but then I'm not as well. I don't want to say that I'm not as careful as I should be, but I don't baby it like I should, so I keep sort of re-injuring it. So every day is like 3 steps forward and 2 steps back.
I see. And what was that? Just from again?
This is embarrassing to admit, but I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was when I was carrying some groceries up the back steps.
The big man has to carry too many groceries at once.
That's exactly what it is. That's 1,000%.
No, Mom, I can do it all in one trip, I swear.
Well, in my defense, I was not. It was not some Keenan Moss Macho shit. It was. I'm very lazy and I hate going up and down steps.
That's how it is.
So I was trying to get it all in one trip. I mean, there was nobody there. There was nobody there for me to prove my masculinity to anyway. So I wasn't trying to impress him. I was just trying to prevent myself from having to go up the stairs twice. So I've been paying for it for a couple months now, which is
dang, it's been that long.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, that is ridiculous.
No, because I'm not taking care of it like I should. But
I see. Rest. It's okay to rest, James. It's all right.
Yeah, that's what they tell me.
Poor guy.
I'll be fine. How are things with you? Apart from the boxing, what else is happening?
These hands are happening right here, right now.
There are problems that punching can't fix. One day you'll realize.
I doubt it. But, let's see.
Not all these things can be settled physically.
Tomorrow, I'm gonna see. Just my D&D.
That's right.
Just my D&D group. Just like physically. For a few months now. I've been using a site called Roll20. It's it's just like a virtual. Just like a D&D site.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. It has just like a video call thing too. It's just
okay. Yeah, because I knew that you were doing video calls, but I'd somehow, if you told me, I forgot that it was like a special role-playing platform.
Yeah.
When's the last time you guys saw each other in person? How long's it been?
Dang, it's been Well, I say it's been. I think it was probably in like November or so. So yeah, and it's been a while.
Are you are you at all worried that when you see them, you will inadvertently punch them?
Yeah, so worried, man. So worried. Hey, like, hey, man, how's it going? Hey, hey. It's like, oh, I don't know my own strength. I'm sorry. I don't know who I am anymore.
Oh, well, that'll be good. It's supposed to be pretty cold tomorrow, though.
Is it?
Yeah, you can bundle up. You'll be fine.
I mean, the forecast says, oh, yeah, 60 something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Take a little brandy or something. You'll be fine.
But you're the best father ever, you know?
No, in all those old, when I used to read fantasy books, like Dungeons & Dragons style, like novels and things like that, they were always drinking small measures of alcohol to keep themselves warm. So.
It's like, how are you not drunk right now?
Me?
No, them. Oh. Yes, but also you. How are you not drunk? How are you?
Yes, I ask myself the same question. I don't know how I can be your father and stay sober is.
Dang, I see how it is. I see how it is,
Dad. Concern.
Man.
I would see how it is were it not for the double vision. On account of the booze.
This doesn't even make sense. What?
I'll explain it to you when you're older.
Dead.
So what are you guys doing tomorrow?
I'm not a child anymore.
Are you guys, will you be starting a new campaign tomorrow?
No.
You'll be continuing one?
Yeah.
How deep into it are you?
Fairly deep. No, we've been into it since, like, it's been almost a year, actually. I think we started in, like, June.
Yeah. Do you, are you part of any online, like, D&D? I don't know, is there a fandom exactly? I guess maybe not, because it's sort of, does it count as a fandom?
I would say...
it's so individually determined.
I would say, not quite.
The creation is so decentralized.
I mean, it's more the kind of thing, if you know a certain, a type of person, I mean, chances are, like, either they have, just like a D&D thing, or that, just like a type of thing, you know?
Sure. Yeah, the good news is I got into D&D very, very young. The bad news is because I was early in, I was also early out.
Oh, yeah.
Burned out on early. I got my D&D, my basic set when I was 7.
Dang.
Which was probably too young.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't even remember what version of the game. I'm sure that I was playing with a very incomplete knowledge of the rules and things.
What's a succubus?
Probably like rolling dice and moving pieces on a board, and I was enjoying all the. I remember very much enjoying telling people that I played D&D.
Oh yeah, man, that's how it is.
You know, just
I play a little bit of the D&D.
I gotta get home so I can play a little bit of that D&D. It was ridiculous.
And didn't you have your stuff? I just got stolen once.
No, not exactly. It was worse than that. Oh man.
Oh boy.
This kid Eddie Doyle, who I went to high school with, now you know I was. It was in the early part of my high school, and I was sort of I'll be diplomatic and say that I was between groups of friends.
Yeah.
And he professed to have an interest in D&D. He was like, hey, can I borrow some of your stuff so I can kind of figure out how to play? I was like, yeah, sure. At the time, I had it all in a. This is how much of a nerd I was. There was this sort of fake, very simplified D&D board game called Dark Tower at the time, which its main selling feature was it had this black plastic tower in the middle of the game board that had this rotating thing lit from within that showed slides of your adventure, like what you were doing. Like you'd roll a dice, land on a square, and you'd press the button, and it'd spin, and be like, oh, ambush, and be like, oh no, and then it would spin again. It was one of these toy games. It's like they called it a game, but it was basically like a toy.
Yeah.
Anyway, So by early high school, my Dark Tower game had conked out, but I kept all my I had all my D&D stuff in an unused or in a disused Dark Tower box. So it's like
right.
compound nerddom. It was the accoutrements.
Nerd squared.
It was the accoutrements of one type of nerd lifestyle shoveled into the box from another.
Yeah.
But so I gave Eddie this big box full of stuff, and it was like, rule books and modules and a number of the hardback books like the Fiend Folio and things like that, and Dungeon Master's Guide and stuff like that.
Yeah, of course.
And he borrowed it, and he kept it. He kept it, and so one Saturday, I went over to his house, and he lived with his. I forget what the story was with his parents, but he was living with his grandmother. So this house, I knocked on the door, and he had his grandmother run interference. She came to the door in her little velour grandma tracksuit. It's like, I'm sorry, Eddie's not here. I'm like, I can see him in the back. He's in the back room. He's cowering, like Chun-Li the Walrus. She's like, I'm like, I can see him back there, and she's like, no, he's not here. Yeah, you have to come back sometime. Like, but he's got. I just want to get my box back so I can. And she's like, no, he's not. I'll have Eddie. I'll have him give you a call, but I can see him back there.
Man.
Anyway, so that was the end of all my D&D stuff.
Oh, that's tragic, man.
Perhaps it's for the best. I don't know.
Perhaps. Oh, man, but the little dog is so peaceful right now.
She is. Do you,
I just in a chair, and that's her chair at this point.
I'm acutely aware of this, because it used to be my chair.
Right, yeah.
See, it has that nice little lamp next to it, very nice for reading, right? Yeah.
No, it's very nice for a little dog.
Nice for little dogs.
But for a little black dog to soak up the light.
And to flip over once in a while and smell like corn chips.
Yeah, man, she always smells like I just get Fritos, I don't know.
She has a special Frito gland.
Yeah, the gland. But
I was gonna ask if you ever. I was gonna ask if you ever have you considered, or maybe have you already branched out into other role playing games? Or?
I think I think D&D is kind of, I like the blueprint there.
Well, yeah.
I say, I guess I think all my views on the tabletop RPG stuff, I view just a lot of them as just modified. I just get D&D.
I guess that's true. Yeah. Yeah, I guess the major difference would be setting and milieu and stuff like that. But I think that people's interaction with role playing games has probably become more freeform than it was when I was younger. It's like,
oh boy.
It's like, I wish I could play D&D but in space, and it's like, oh well, buy this boxed game where it's like D&D but in space.
It's but it's D&D. It's so freeform. You
That's the thing. I think a modern player is more savvy and say well, we'll just take the D&D paradigm and we'll craft a sort of space-based campaign or something like that. But back then it was like, no, I need a box that has an astronaut on the front.
Right, exactly.
This box has a wizard on the front. I need the one with the astronaut on the front.
Oh man. It's like a DLC, man. It's the DLC.
What is that?
Only downloadable onto the content. On video games. It's like if you buy a certain extension or pack,
oh sure,
you can unlock an extra scene or an extra a route.
Oh, I see.
Or just a costume or something.
I see. Yeah, no, when I was playing D&D, my engagement with it was far more rudimentary. I remember a big thing that caused big ripples in my little corner of the world was there's some, I'm blanking on the name of it, I could probably pick it out of a lineup, but there's some D&D module where you play, your Dungeons and Dragons era adventurers, but you come across the wreck of a spaceship, and you can get lasers.
What?
So you can be like this knight with a laser.
D&D lasers?
I know, right?
On account of it's lasers?
Huge, it was huge. But, I mean, and my friends and I were utterly fixated, dude, it's our dreams have now been fulfilled. I could be a guy with a sword and a laser, the dream we all dream.
Yes.
But,
yes.
But to the credit of the creators of D&D, they kept it realistic. They're like, yeah, they're laser guns and they deal a great amount of damage within a small area. But once they're done, once they run out, you have no way of recharging them or anything.
Right. Yeah.
Because you're a dude who lives in a moss-covered castle or whatever, you can't just plug it. You can just plug your ray gun in. So, as with so much in life, the laser guns were fun for a very short period of time.
Dang, that's kind of deep, man.
I'm 15 and this is deep. I'm 46 and this is deep.
I am 15. And this is so deep,
Yeah, what passed for deep when I was 15 is strictly entry level these days.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm curious. On pre-internet, I just what content I was considered deep.
What kind of content was?
Yeah.
What was considered deep? Let me think. When I was 15, I would say, and part of this probably has to do with where I grew up. Again, I grew up in semi-rural South Carolina. If in 15, it would have been 89. It would have been the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
And in information travel like it did today, so the stuff that would be considered deep would probably be old, probably Eurocentric stuff. My friends and I were way into surrealism and Dada and stuff like that.
Yeah, I can see that.
We were not up on. I kept up a little bit with. The only way that I was able to keep up with the contemporary art scene at the time was by reading art magazines in the library.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and at that point in the news, it was dominated by AIDS and things like that. There were lots of stories about that, which was interesting because that was one of my first sustained exposures to gay culture and things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So there was a certain kind of depth, but I think maybe what you're asking is kids that wanted to seem deep, what kind of stuff would they get into?
Yeah.
It'd be European stuff was impressive to people.
Ooh, European.
Yeah, it was all very white.
So white.
Very white, very straight. It was not considered cool for straight people to be into gay stuff where I was.
I see.
That was not, that was not good. So yeah, deep stuff would be let me think. When I was 16, I shoplifted a copy of Camus' The Stranger. So, that's it in a nutshell.
That sounds so much... I just you, but young. That sounds very...
Yeah, so that was the scene. So it's if you wanted to seem deep...
Hey girls, I read French novels.
If you wanted
about just bad men.
If you wanted to seem deep and complex, it was European stuff and knowing how to pronounce things.
Hey girl, it's in French.
Knowing that it was not Camus.
Camus.
Stuff
Camus.
Stuff like that.
Camus.
So, yeah, it was I would say European stuff of the first half of the 20th century.
I see.
Was considered deep because the idea this may have changed now because I think now to seem cool people want stuff that nobody else has heard of, but back then you wanted something not that nobody had heard of, but that people recognize. You didn't want something that was totally unknown, because then they wouldn't be impressed by it. They'd be like, "What the hell is that?"
Right.
You wanted something that was recognized as being profound but not understood. It was a very fine needle to thread.
Man.
But you'd have to ask somebody who was deep back then. I was not.
Dang, that's kind of profound, man. I don't know.
I've always considered myself a very profound individual.
Quick. I'll just say something deep.
Life is like a tire iron. It's really heavy, and it's really hard. So it feels really good when you stop hitting yourself over the head with it.
Damn.
Or, when you think about it, the more time you spend awake, the more time you're asleep. I actually stole that from Jaden Smith. Great thinker of our time.
Jeez.
Know, right?
And on that...
I don't think we can top Jaden Smith.
And on that... I'll just get deep note. I think it's time to... it's time to hit the hay, you know?
I'm of the mind that every conversation should end with an inspirational quote from Jaden Smith.
Oh, absolutely. Alright, farewell, folks.